Hi, I'm Norm, and this is Strangely Canadian. As always, I'll be your guide as we travel around Canada in search of strange tales. In today's video, strange tales from the province of Alberta. But first, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so you never miss any of our new video content. Alberta is one of the three prairie provinces. It is bordered by British Columbia to the west, Saskatchewan to the east, the Northwest Territories to the north, and the U.S. state of Montana to the south. It is one of the only two landlocked provinces in Canada. The eastern part of the province is occupied by the Great Plains, while the western part borders the Rocky Mountains. The province has a predominantly continental climate, but experiences quick temperature changes due to air aridity. Seasonal temperature swings are less in western Alberta due to occasional Chinook winds from the Rockies. Alberta is the sixth largest province by area, being approximately 660,000 square kilometers, and the fourth most populous, being home to 4,067,175 people, with more than half of Albertans living in either Edmonton or Calgary. Alberta's economy is based on hydrocarbons, petrochemical industry, livestock, agriculture, and frontier technologies. The oil industry has been a pillar of Alberta's economy since 1947, when substantial oil deposits were discovered. Let's get started on our journey around Alberta. Number 1, the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel in Banff, Alberta. Sitting majestically atop the alpine town of Banff, the Banff Springs Hotel is known affectionately as the Castle of the Rockies. The hotel first opened its doors in 1888 and has welcomed thousands of guests since that time. Some, however, have never left. The Ghost Bride is the hotel's most famous resident. Multiple guests have spotted this ghostly young woman floating around the Cascade Ballroom. The specter is said to be mourning her ill-fated wedding day, having died in the 1930s after she tripped on the circular marble stairs and accidentally tumbled to her demise. The legend has gathered so much steam over the years that the Ghost Bride even appeared on a commemorative coin here in Canada. But it's not just the Ghost Bride that haunts the chateau. Sam the bellman, a former hotel worker, reportedly likes to assist guests even 45 years after his death. The helpful specter allegedly helps guests that have been locked out of their rooms and mischievously shuffles luggage around. Guests at the Banff Springs have also reported unusual noises and chilling drafts coming from room 692, which the hotel has trouble booking. Other guests have sworn that they saw the reflection of a ghostly child in the window, heard a baby crying, or felt something crawling up on the bed at night. But perhaps the creepiest part of the hotel is room 873, or rather, the missing room. The 8th floor actually skips over 873, and legend has it that the room was boarded up after a family was murdered in the room a few decades ago. According to the rumors, guests that stayed in the room before it was boarded up were awoken by screams and bloody handprints in the middle of the night. Hotel staff reportedly refused to speak about the room, which only adds to its intrigue. Whether or not you believe the Banff Springs is truly haunted, it certainly does bear an uncanny resemblance to a spooky castle. Number 2, Florence Lisandro, Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. Born Flumina Costanzo in Italy in 1900, Florence immigrated with her family to southern Alberta at the age of 9. At the age of 15, her parents arranged a marriage between Florence and Charles Lisandro in October of 1915. The marriage was not a happy one. They moved to the United States, but Charles ended up with a huge gambling debt. The couple moved back to Alberta. Charles got a job with his old boss, Emile Piccarello, also known as the Emperor Pic. Piccarello manufactured ice cream and owned the Alberta Hotel in Blairmore. However, these were just fronts for his criminal activities. Prohibition was in full effect in Alberta, and Piccarello was a bootlegger. He ran liquor from British Columbia into Alberta and Montana. Charles became involved in this rum-running operation, and so did Florence. Piccarello's son, Steve, was also involved in this shady business, and it is believed that Florence was in love with him. Florence, who viewed Emile as a father figure, and was fed up with her irresponsible husband, ended up living with the Piccarello family. In September 1912, the police spotted Steve Piccarello making a rum run. They chased him and gunfire was exchanged. He was injured and escaped to British Columbia. When Emil heard what had happened, he and Florence approached Constable Lawson at his home in Coleman. After an argument and gunfire, Lawson was fatally wounded in front of his 9-year-old daughter, Pearl. Both Emil and Florence were arrested. During the trial, no evidence was presented that showed which one had actually shot Lawson. The jury convicted both of them. One account mentioned that Florence remained silent through the trial, supposedly because Emil had asked her to take the blame, for they would never hang a woman. During the trial, Florence was dubbed the Mobster Princess. Both were sentenced to hang. After the trial, Florence's pleas of being innocent fell on deaf ears. She was hanged on the gallows at Fort Saskatchewan Penitentiary in Alberta in 1923 at the age of 23. Fort Saskatchewan was used as a Royal Canadian Mounted Police outpost, and 29 people were hanged here. Florence was the last woman to be hanged in Alberta. People still wonder if Florence was just a victim of circumstance, or was she really a hardened criminal. Today, several buildings that made up the fort still stand, including the courthouse where Florence was convicted. Many have experienced strange activities in these buildings. Unexplained voices and noises are heard on a regular basis. Apparitions are felt and seen in the buildings and around the grounds. One ghost that lingers is believed to be Florence. One noted encounter with her ghost was during a Fright Night Halloween event and sleepover the fort hosted for some young people. Darlene Breer, a member of the Fort Saskatchewan Historical Society and a special event coordinator for the fort, took this group of young people outside after the event. During this time, she noticed a thick fog roll into the area. Thinking it was strange, she took several pictures with her digital camera. Later, when she downloaded them to her computer, she saw a female standing amidst the fog. She became convinced it was Florence. Later that same evening, she went to check on the children, whom were bedded down in the museum's courthouse. As she walked by an adjoining room, she spotted a curtain moving strangely. She entered this room and saw this curtain move again. This time, it fell off of its rod and landed outlining the shape of a body kneeling on the floor. She bravely approached this figure and pulled the curtain shrouding the figure. Before her was a young woman who looked just like Florence. Number 3, Jasper Park Lodge, Jasper, Alberta. There is a very steep staircase in one of the signature cabins, Point Cabin, that is haunted by a housekeeper who fell and broke her neck on it. She has been known to push people on the staircase as well as being responsible for the chilly winds that sometimes blow down it. People have also reported a feeling of being watched on the staircase and in the connecting hall, and animals are said to be very hesitant about going on the stairway. Security guards have claimed to receive phantom phone calls from the cabin, only to arrive and no one is there. A senior couple dressed in old-fashioned clothing have been seen by patrons either dancing or sitting at a table in one of the restaurants. Children's handprints appear on the windows in the main ballroom, and people have noted an eerie feeling of being watched in the ballroom. Number 4, Lake Winnewanka, Banff, Alberta. An ancient Stoney First Nation legend says that a demon, half fish and half man, is inside this lake. It has taken the lives of many tribal members from the lake's shores. A white Mustang apparition has also been seen by visitors on the shores. There is also a report from visitors about a spectral First Nations warrior who wanders the lake edge, still looking for skulls left over from a major battle between two tribes long ago in this area. On the surface, Lake Minnewanka looks like most other large bodies of water in Canada. There's a town very nearby, but the only way you can see it is if you brought your scuba gear. Known as Winnewanka Landing, the summer village located at the base of the Canadian Rockies was a popular destination for city dwellers from Calgary for years, most notably beginning in 1886 with the completion of the Beach House, a hotel constructed out of logs. Over the years, the town grew to include 4 avenues, 3 streets, dozens of cottages, numerous hotels and restaurants, and multiple sailing outfits that would take guests on boat excursions around the much smaller original lake. It wouldn't be until 1912 that the area's landscape would start to evolve with the construction of a new dam, part of Calgary's power company hydroelectric plant operation being set up downriver, resulting in the flooding of a good portion of Winnewanka Landing. But while the town continued to thrive over the next 2 decades, 42 lots were built to make way for additional cabin sites. It would finally meet its fate in 1941 with the building of a new dam, which raised the reservoir's waters by 98 feet, engulfing everything in its wake. Number 5. Ukrainian Cultural Heritage Village, Towfield, Alberta. Now, my brother-in-law was a member of the RCMP in Towfield. I've never heard this story from them. The most famous strange tale from this area is a wagon master who rides through town pulling a wagon seeking workers to go on a ride with him. Other paranormal activities like light anomalies, spooky footsteps, disembodied voices, and glimpses of apparitions. Number 6. Laklabish Mission, Laklabish, Alberta. An anonymous specter of a young priest walks both into and out of the church. He lost his life in a tornado that swept through this settlement in 1920. Visitors have reported the strong feeling of being watched from the church's empty windows. Light anomalies and ectoplasmic mist have been seen and photographed by tourists. Number 7. Grace Hospital, Calgary, Alberta. Grace Hospital, now called the Riley Park Health Center building, is home to the ghost of Maudine Riley, who is holding a baby in the delivery room. Maudine and the baby died in childbirth in the room on this spot in 1962. It is said that the ghost bangs pipes and opens windows and causes pregnant women to have difficult labor. Number 8. Galt Museum and Archives, Lethbridge, Alberta. The historical museum was a former hospital, and a patient who passed away there has been heard walking through the hallways of the museum late at night. Doors will fly open by themselves when people walk past. Number 9. Heritage Park Historical Village, Calgary, Alberta. Heritage Park Historical Village is a historical park and living history museum rumored to be haunted. One rumor says the apparition of a beautiful, smiling lady with a baby is seen on the 3rd floor of Prince House. Another says the ghost of an elderly gentleman nicknamed Sam appears in the 3rd seat of the 3rd row at Canmore Opera House. Number 10. UFO Landing Pad, St. Paul, Alberta. UFO sightings are at an all-time high. There have been 104,947 reported sightings on record over the past 100 plus years. The first recorded flyby occurred in Portland, Oregon in 1905, where visitors reported seeing a sphere-shaped UFO that descended from the heavens. But sightings have spiked dramatically over the past 30 plus years, with the reported number jumping around 5,000 in 1980 to roughly 45,000 in 2010. The UFO phenomenon being a fairly US-based trend. The nation collectively reported 2,500 sightings per 10 million people, which is 300 times more than the global median. More sightings are reported in the states in the west and northwest. Alberta falls into this region and has had its fair share of UFO sightings as well. In 1967, the Canadian Centennial Celebration saw the construction of an official UFO landing welcome site in St. Paul, Alberta. Weighing just over 130 tons, the large flat concrete structure contains a time capsule to be opened on the 100th anniversary of the pad's opening in 2067. A large map of Canada, made from stones from each of the provinces, adorned the rear of the pad. In the 1990s, a round, saucer-shaped tourist information center was opened on the site, containing a museum of UFO memorabilia, including photographs of alleged landing sites and crop circles. Some of these items on display at the center were purchased from J. Allen Hynek Center for UFO Studies. This organization was founded by one of the scientists who famously worked on the United States Air Force UFO study called Project Blue Book. There you have some of the strange tales from Alberta. As many people know, Sasquatch is also well known to appear in the rugged landscape of this province. I decided to save the big guy for the British Columbia video, which will be coming up in about a week. Thanks for watching. See you next time when I bring you more tales that are strangely Canadian.